Let's thank them. Haribo! Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, Aditya Narayan Prabhu and Nandagopal. Thank you very much for the chanting, the pure chanting. So, please be as quiet as possible. So, as everyone knows, tomorrow is the commemoration and celebration of Janmashtami, the appearance of Lord Sri Krishna. And so we're going to be having a very, very big festival, beginning like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and culminating at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Of course, there'll be the midnight arti, there'll be prasadam, and there'll be prasadam throughout the evening for those who are not fasting. So you're all welcome to come for any aspect. There's going to be abhishek of the deities, there's going to be a boat festival for the deities, there's a swing festival for the deities, cultural programs, drama, dancing, you name it. It's going to be a very, very interesting evening. And try to come early so you get a parking space. The parking will be mainly across the street on our property there. And we're going to have the police directing traffic. So we have a lot of people. We should get several thousand at least. It's supposed to be nice weather, so please try to come. So this afternoon, I'm not going to specifically speak about Janmashtami except for the events that preceded Krishna's advent on this earth planet. As you all know, Krishna says in the Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhavata abhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. That Krishna appears on this earth planet to establish religious principles, and he also comes to annihilate the bad people, and he comes to protect the devotees. And he comes whenever there's a decline in religion and a rise in a religion. So these are some of the reasons that Krishna appears. Of course, we understand from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that actually these reasons or those particular purposes can be carried out by Krishna's representative or Krishna's energies. Krishna's energies, such as Durga Devi, are perfectly capable of annihilating miscreants and helping the devotees in all sorts of different ways. So Krishna's own purpose, because Krishna is not controlled by the modes of nature, Krishna is not really controlled by anything happening on this earth planet, but Krishna's own purpose is to enjoy loving exchanges with his devotees, and in addition, to attract his prospective devotees, that's us, by his leelas. Because when we hear and we see Krishna's leelas, like tomorrow we're going to see Krishna's leelas, and I think there's some sort of drama today or play today which will be one of Krishna's leelas, we become attracted, and then as Krishna states in the Gita, Raso Varjam Rasopirsa, Param Drishta Nivartate, we have a higher understanding or a higher taste, and we naturally develop vairagya. You know, vairagya, for those of you who don't know what that word means, it means detachment, or vairagya, not attached to things in the mode of ignorance and passion. So Krishna says, or the Bhagavatam says, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Yasu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahaitakam. That by hearing and chanting about Krishna, specifically the first two practices or processes, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, then automatically attachment to Krishna arises, and vairagya or detachment from this world arises. And then one is experiencing a higher taste or a higher pleasure. So that is the process of spiritual life. We are not engaged in detachment or vairagya for vairagya's sake. but vairagya or detachment comes when you're having a better time. So this is actually the reason, internal reason for Krishna's appearance. But today we're going to talk about the external reason based upon historical events that occurred before Krishna came down to this earth planet. In other words, the events preceding Krishna's decision to come down and Paritranaya Sadhunam Vidashaya Chadushkatam, etc. So first we'll chant Jai Radha Madhava. With that in mind. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Balaba Giri Bharadhaguti Gopi Jana Balaba Giri Bharadhaguti Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Banachari Yamuna Tera Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagoti Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagoti Gopi Jana Balaba Iri Bharadhaguti Gopi Jana Balaba Iri Bharadhaguti Yasodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Vanachari Yamuna Tera Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagati Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihagati Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya Also Tara Satashi Shimad Divine Grace Sabaya Charanana Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Napacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem say kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Saim Kund Radhakunda Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavanam ki jai, Maturam ki jai, Jagadadha Sami ki jai, Yamunamai ki jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi ki jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya, Pudle Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pacharani Nivasesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. Please, everybody move a little forward because more people are going to come in as time goes on. So, Omagana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya. Chakshurun Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So let everyone please, you all want to be quiet because you don't want me to use my Hindi word for shut up. It'll offend everybody. So anyway, so please come in, sit down. I've often thought that when we start a lecture, everyone should sit down, then you lock the doors afterwards. People haven't come in, but it's not going to work. So we will tolerate, or I will try my best to tolerate. So tomorrow is the commemoration, again, of Janmashtami. And so what Janmashtami represents, in addition to being the Lord enjoying himself in different leelas, which we mentioned before, is that Janmashtami represents the victory of good over evil. Now, in this universe, and everywhere except for the spiritual world, there are good people and bad people. There are demons, and there are demigods or daivic people. You know, good people, bad people. And so in every level, especially in the higher levels of the universe, you have the continual interplanetary fights going on between these two types of entities. And most of these two types of entities come from the same father, which is interesting, whose name is Kashyapa. And Kashyapa has Aditi, who gave birth to the demigods, and Diti, who gave birth to the Daitras, or demons, and also Danu, who gave birth to the Danavas. So even in the same family, you have these different conflicts going on. So what's the difference between a demon and someone who is godly? Well, Krishna describes what the difference is in the Bhagavad Gita. Pravritim cha nivritim cha janana vidur asura. That the demons basically either don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done, or they do the opposite anyway. So what is to be done, what is not to be done, that's dharma. And dharma comes from Krishna, dharmam tu sakshat, bhagavat pranitam. So that's the source of dharma. Dharma doesn't come from me or you or some professor or someone who thinks something is good or something, you know, like that's relative morality, which we see in different countries. Like in some countries, it'll be legal to have an abortion, in other countries, illegal. I'm not going to talk about the subject matter right now. But I'm just saying, it's relative. That's not dharma. That's mundane morality. And it's based upon people's opinion. Just like in one particular country, they won't even let the ladies go to school. And they think that that is religion. So that's a relative misunderstanding of what is right and what is wrong. So if you really want to understand what's right and what's wrong, then you got to read the Vedic literatures coming from God, and understand in disciplic succession what is right and what is wrong. So those who are of demoniac persuasion don't know what is right and don't know what is wrong, or they act in the opposite direction. And this sort of fight between what we call the demons and the devas, or demons and devotees, is going on the higher planetary level. And so this is what precedes Krishna's advent on this earth planet. So I'm going to speak and tell the story from the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and trying to get through all the details. There's a lot of details. And sometimes those who are bad guys, or bad asuras, actually, what's a good asura? So those who are bad guys, they become more powerful than the good guys. Ultimately, good wins. But for some period of time, you're going to hear in this story how the good guys become powerless and the bad guys become powerful. Because sometimes even the good guys do the wrong thing. And they don't follow Dharma. And sometimes the bad guys, for the wrong reason, will follow Dharma. So this is a story of the fight between the good guys and the bad guys on the higher levels of the universe, and how this precedes Krishna's advent. So, once upon a time, as all stories go, there was a good guy, Indra. And Indra is sort of like the chief administrative demigod in the universe. You know, he has thunderbolt and everything like that. So he rides on this elephant. It's called Airavata. And he's riding on this elephant, and Durvasa Muni, who is considered an expansion of Lord Shiva, he decides to give some respect or blessing to Indra. So he thought, let me give Indra my garland. But I have no garland. Anyway, that's all right. That's all marigolds. I'm allergic to marigolds. So we'll make an exception for you today. So he decides to give Indra his garland. And Indra thinks, it's just a marigold garland. No. And he gives it to his elephant. And the elephant tramples it beneath his feet. And so Durvasa, his name actually means bad temperament. Durvasa. And so he gets angry and he curses the demigods. So they made a mistake. Because when a sage gives you something, you don't just throw it away. You have to respect it. So here, the demons became more powerful and the demigods became less powerful because the demigods made an offense. When you offend a great personality, and Durvasa is a great personality, the expansion of Lord Shiva, a very great personality. So when you offend a great personality, a nagati gatopi, in other words, your destination is not known, or you're going to go down, down, down. There are stories in Chaitanya Leela of how people offended devotees of Lord Chaitanya, like Haridas Thakur, as Gopal Chakravarti offended Haridas Thakur, and as a result, he got leprosy. Not Haridas Thakur, but Gopal Chakravarti got leprosy. So you have to be very careful about offending great soul. All your good fortune can be lost. So the demons, the bad guys, become more powerful. And they're just running around, creating havoc everywhere. And so Indra thinks, we got to do something about this. So what do whenever there's a problem? And this also preceded Krishna's advent. They go to see Lord Brahma, who's the head of all the demigods. And Lord Brahma tells them, let's go to Shvetadvipa and pray to Lord Vishnu. So this is interesting, yet whenever the demigods, they make a mistake, they actually go to Lord Vishnu. And sometimes if they're not making mistakes, they don't go to Lord Vishnu. That's called a fair weather god, or we say fair weather friend. Krishna is always our friend, but we go to him often, as Krishna states in the Gita, Chaturvida Abhajanti Mam. We go to him for some other purpose. We want money. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Or we're in distress. I just lost my job. Not me. I'm grandfathered in. So, in a real sense. So we go when we're in distress, we want money, or we're inquisitive, we have some other purpose. So the demigods, they do that generally with Lord Vishnu. And that's why Lord Vishnu arranges these problems, because he understands in many cases they won't come to him unless there's a problem. So actually even Queen Kunti prays, Janmaishvarya Shutasha Shivira Puman. Let me become detached from these things so that I can pray to you with submission, with intensity and a proper devotional mood. So demigods go there, and Lord Vishnu says, okay, I have a solution. When you can't defeat someone, join with them. What does that mean? That means make a deal with them, and that deal should be, you're both going to get something out of this. You're going to churn the milk ocean. And when you churn the milk ocean, you're going to get this amrit out of it. And you should share it with, and so make this deal. So Bali Maharaj was the head of the demons or the bad guys at that point. So someone may question, why was Bali Maharaj, who's the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, doing all this? Didn't he listen to his grandpa? Somehow or other, he was doing this because it was his duty, his family. Sometimes one may be a great devotee of the Lord, but you're in a particular family, so you have some family obligations. So he has some family obligations. So they went to Bali Maharaj, and they made a truce. And the way they were going to do this is they take Mount Mandara and use it as a churning rod, and then churn in the ocean of milk and eventually get the nectar. So what happened is they tried to carry Mount Mandara. It was just too heavy, and the demigods and the demons, they got crushed at this particular point. Lord Vishnu had to come and bring them back to life and carry Mount Mandara. So he carried Mount Mandara, and they put it in the milk ocean, and it sank. So you see how Krishna has to save everybody all the time. And so the Krishna had to appear as a tortoise incarnation, and to balance this with like a pivot for the mountain, which was the pivot rod. So, and then there was a discussion, how are they going to churn? What are they going to use for a rope? And they used Vasuki. Vasuki, the demigods, they actually wanted to first take the head, but then the demons got upset, and then they said, no, we want the head. We don't want to touch the tails. And so the demigods, after thinking about it, thought that's a good idea because the head of a serpent has bad breath. And so the tail was actually the clean part of a serpent. So if you ever have to touch a serpent, well, don't. So then they started to churn the demons. They got their strength from ignorance. Like you sometimes, of course, hopefully you don't see a boxing match. So, or a wrestling match. And the demigods, they got their strength from determination and the mode of goodness. And so Vasuki was definitely like ignorant at this particular point. So in order to balance Mount Mandara, Lord Vishnu also had to appear with 1,000 arms just to balance from the top. And then also Lord Vishnu had to help the demigods and the demons because they had become really exhausted from this churning process. So you had Lord Vishnu below, Lord Vishnu on top, Lord Vishnu churning, Lord Vishnu in everyone's heart. And so, everybody was being saved by Lord Vishnu at this particular point. So as they were churning, different things came out of this milk ocean. And one of the most famous things is this hala hala, this poison which was threatening to destroy the whole universe or kill everybody in the universe. And so they didn't know what to do, so they prayed to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, he agreed to drink the poison. And to this day, his throat is as a blue streak, blue-throated. He's actually called by Parvati blue-throated one. So Lord Shiva did that. And then other things happened. The Surabhi cow came out, and that was given to the Brahmanas. Uchaya Shrava came out. And even Indra's elephant, I guess for a second time, Aravata came out. And Lord Vishnu's Kastubhamani and Padmagarbha came out, which Lord Vishnu wears. Apsaras came out, the dancing girls from the heavenly planets. Finally, Lakshmi came out, and all of them were looking at her thinking that she was going to choose one of them as her husband. But she walked immediately over to Lord Vishnu and gave him a garland. And then Varuni came out, which is liquor. And that was given to the demons. So those who drink liquor, anyway, I won't say what they are. It's a demoniac activity. Prabhupada said 1 drop of liquor pollutes everything, or any form of intoxication. So finally, after all this churning, the incarnation of the Lord Dhanvantari came out, and he was carrying this pot of nectar, which is the Amrit. And so they were supposed to divide it equally, but the demons immediately stole that pot. And the demigods were getting really worried. What's going to happen? We need this Amrit, and if the demons drink the Amrit, they're going to become not completely immortal, but very long life, like that. So what are we going to do about this? So Lord Vishnu, in the meantime, they go to Lord Vishnu again. And Lord Vishnu created an illusion amongst the demons so that they would fight each other. I want it first. I want it first. Or, as the thieves sometimes say, let's divide up this equally, honestly, between ourselves. Isn't it? Let's be honest. It's honor amongst thieves. So, anyway, they were fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting against each other. And eventually, what happens is that Krishna appears as the Mohini Murti incarnation. And in this Mohini Murti, Mohini means bewildering. It means the form of bewilderment. That is Krishna as a lady. And as we know, Krishna's all attractive, right? He's all attractive. He's Bhagawan. So when Krishna appears as a lady, there's no lady anywhere who can compare to Krishna's beauty. And that's Mohini. Later on, in the same portion of the Bhagavatam, you find that Lord Shiva even wanted to see this Mohini Murti incarnation of the Lord. And he thought, I can control myself. And actually, this is a pastime. This is not a criticism of Lord Shiva, because he's a Vaishnavanam, Yata Shambhu. So he was thinking, I'm aloof from all this feminine attraction. I am Dhira. And so what happened is that he prayed to Vishnu, please, I want to see. And Vishnu said, okay, get ready. And all of a sudden there was a girl playing whatever, some ball game, bouncing a ball, and the wind blew away her clothes. And Lord Shiva just couldn't control himself. He started chasing all around the world after this Mohini Murti incarnation of the Lord. And then he understood how strong the Lord's potency is. Not just illusory potency, but the Lord's beauty. So here, okay, so getting back to the story of the demons and the devotees. So Mohini Murti appears before the demons, and immediately the demons forget about the nectar. That's also indicative of our position in this world. Not that we see Mohini Murti. Thank God. Well, that's Krishna. I wouldn't mind that. So indicative in the sense that we have this offer of eternal blissful life in relationship with Krishna. And we're ready to sacrifice it for something that has very little value, something that is not even real. Nasato vijate bhavo na bhavo vijate sataha. Ubiyorapi drishtavantas tvanios tatvadarshapi, as the Bhagavad Gita states, that the sages consider those things that don't continue to exist. They're, in one sense, not substantial. They're not, I mean, they're real and they come into existence and they leave after a particular time. They're real in that sense, but not in an ultimate sense. Just like these bodies, they're always in flux, changing. And one day, as they say, even in the Christian Bible, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And of course in India, not to frighten everyone, the bodies will either become ashes, or if you're a Parsi, they may become food for the vultures. Oh my God. Please no. So, anyway, so these temporary things, we're ready to sacrifice everything for temporary enjoyment, sacrifice our eternal spiritual life. And so this is the problem. So the demons, they were just looking at this Mohini Murti and forgot about the nectar. And they said basically to her, can you divide up this nectar fairly between us? And she, speaking philosophy, said, how can you trust me? I mean, and she gave some philosophy there that, you know, you can't trust like someone, an unprotected woman like that. And so they were so bewildered, they said, no, we trust you. What was the logic? That she was beautiful. That's not logical. Would you trust, I mean, for example, a lion is very beautiful, right? No. It's the king of the jungle. So would you trust me get in the cage with a lion? Recently there was a lady who actually almost jumped into a cage with a lion in one of the zoos in America. She thought, you know, just he's cute, I'll pet him. And she jumped, there was like two fences. One fence was the outer fence, another fence was the inner fence. So she jumped in between the two fences and stuck her hand out through the inner fence thinking, this lion is going to love me. And so she almost ended up without her hands. Anyway, so sometimes we think like that. We see something so attractive, it's so nice. And not only insofar as other living entities, sometimes we see something that's so nice and we want to buy it and we go take a loan out for the next 50 years. And because we become attracted, isn't it? I mean, people don't think logically when they're thinking with emotions. You know, the brain, you know, physiological, there's a left brain and a right brain. So people think with the right brain, just emotion, you got to balance yourself and think with your intelligence. That's why Krishna consciousness is called Buddhi Yoga. That means the yoga of intelligence. So the demons didn't have much intelligence. So she said, okay, I'll divide it up. Why don't you boys just sit in nice little rows and trust me? And so the demigods and the demons sat, and she began to give it all to the demigods. Except for, you know, Rahu, who happened to be sneaking in there. And the demigods, the son of the moon, actually discovered Rahu was there. And she pulled out her ultimate weapon, the Sudarshan Chakra, and chopped off Rahu's head. Of course, the nectar had already gone down just about to the neck, so Rahu remains bodiless. So, anyway, that happened, and then the demons got really upset. Now we've been cheated by Krishna again. Because Krishna is the greatest cheater. What do I mean by the greatest cheater? He's, even with us, he's making us think we are something we are not. You know, we think we're this body, we think we're men, we're women, or of a particular nationality, a particular family. All this is illusion, upadis. And Krishna's hypnotized us. He's cheating us. Why is Krishna cheating us? Because we want to be cheated. We want to cheat Krishna. So Krishna says, Ye tamam prabhajante tam siddhayama bhajamiham mama vartmanu vartante manushapartha sarvasha. As you reciprocate with me, you get it back. I'm warning you. So if you, Krishna Bharamukha, you turn your face away from Krishna, Krishna said, okay, it's time for pin the tail on the donkey. And you're the donkey. It's a fact. I mean, we're all walking around thinking, just like it was one is thinking, you know, I'm a Tesla, I'm a whatever, Ford or something like that. And we're so proud, even of our cars, actually, we're just so proud of our different cars like that. So what to speak of this body? So, anyway, so what happens, the demons got really upset, and they start to attack again. And the demons start to win, in spite of the demigods having the nectar. The demons are winning. So then the demigods go to Vishnu again. When in trouble, dial, 911? Vishnu speaking. They go to the shore of the ocean milk, of course, along with Lord Brahma. Or in this case, they just pray, Krishna, we're in trouble again. And Krishna says, oh my God. So anyway, then Lord Vishnu comes out, and he gets attacked in so many ways. Even this person named Kalanemi, who later on is going to be Kamsa, attacks Lord Vishnu and with his trident, and Lord Vishnu kills Kalanemi with his trident. And Lord Vishnu then proceeds to kill Mali, Sumali, Malyavan with his disc, and he knocks Bali unconscious. So Narada Muni is thinking, I want a better fight than this. So he goes and informs the other demons, particularly there's this one demon, this really interesting demon, he's called Namuchi. Never heard of him? Namuchi, who can't be killed by any weapon that's dry or wet. And so such an interesting fights are happening like this. And these are all stories from the Bhagavatam, the 8th canto. So we ask you all to read the Bhagavatam. Such exciting things happening in there, Bhagavatam. So anyway, Namuchi is fighting with Indra, and he's winning, and Indra can't kill him. So Indra hears a voice, probably Lord Vishnu again, that if you want to kill him, you have to kill him with a weapon that's neither neither dry nor wet. So he comes up with this foam weapon. Maybe he gets a fire extinguisher or something. I don't know how they got the foam weapon. And he kills him with his foam weapon. And so then, at this point, the demigods are winning, and the demons are practically all dead. And so what happens at this point is that Lord Brahma sends Narada Muni to tell Indra, stop killing the demons. We need demons around too. Because this is a balance. There has to be facility for everyone. Krishna reciprocates, as I said before. So there has to be reciprocation for everybody in the universe. He's reciprocating. Matar smritir jnanam apohanam. He's giving intelligence, remembrance, and forgetfulness according to one's desire. So then Bali Maharaj, who's almost dead at this point, is taken to Shukracharya. Shukracharya, so this all happened before the Krishna appears. This is what we're talking about. So Shukracharya, he has this Sanjivani mantra, and he brings Bali back to life. And he also is able to bring others back to life. So at this point, here's the point, that Bali is just like completely dedicated to his Guru Maharaj. Now you find other stories in the Bhagavatam, not in this 8th canto of the Bhagavatam, where Indra makes a mistake of not being dedicated to his Guru Maharaj, Brahaspati, and as a result, he loses everything, loses the heavenly planets. But that's not the story now. And then he has to take shelter and get the Narayana Kavacha mantra, and eventually, Indra even ends up killing his guru, not Brahaspati, but this guru Vishwarupa at a particular point. And so you see that even though you may have a good family or be a demigod or whatever, or even a devotee, if you make a mistake, commit offenses, you could lose everything. Because there's no guarantee that even if you're a good person, you're always going to act well. You have to really be alert. And this is the story. This is a lesson we learn from these stories. That when the demons act well, then they get everything. And when the demigods don't act well, they lose everything. So in this particular case, Bali becomes very powerful. He attacks Indra, and he takes over heaven. And so we got a problem here. As in heaven, we have a problem. So anyway, so Indra at this point goes to his guru, and Brahaspati, his guru, says, "There's nothing I can do. You better go and hide." And Bali is just like, the demons are in charge of heaven. So when you have these problems, sometimes if you don't go to Lord Vishnu, you go to your mother. It's interesting. So in this case, it's Lord Vishnu who saves everything, but it's Indra's mother who saved everything at this point. Because she was so upset that her kids, her sister's kids, had taken over the heavenly planets, and her kids were no longer in charge of the heavenly planets. So she goes to her husband, Kashyapa. Kashyapa, as I said before, is the father of both the demons and the devotees. Quite a family. I'm sure that they had interesting family reunions. They all get together for a picnic or something like that. So anyway, so she goes to her husband who's in meditation, and she says, "We ought to do something about this, dear." And he says, "All right, I want you to perform this payovrata." Payovrata means just drinking milk, living on drinking milk for 12 days. And on the 13th day, you do an abhishek. So she does this faithfully. And then, shortly after that, Krishna agrees, he appears before her, and he agrees to be her son. So here they're taking shelter of Krishna again. So eventually, he is born as Aditi's son, who is Lord what? Vamanadev. And then you have this whole story. See, this is interaction, interesting interaction between the demons and devotees. So then you have this very interesting story about Lord Vamanadev going to the sacrifice of Bali Maharaj. And he goes, just to tell the story quickly, he goes to the sacrifice of Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj understands how to receive Brahmins because Lord Vamanadev is his Brahmin boy. And he says to Lord Vamanadev, ask for anything. And he said, I just want 3 steps of land. And Shukracharya says, don't give him it, even though you promised, because it's all right to break a promise. He says it's all right to break a promise when your life is in danger or you're talking to some lady. This is actually Shukracharya says this. This is not true. We don't advocate that. Don't break your promises. Of course, the only time you can break a promise is to save someone's life. That's all right. If you're in danger or saving someone else, like Krishna broke a promise to save Arjuna's life, right? Right? He broke his promise not to fight in the battle of Kuru, etc., yet he grabbed the chariot wheel and to protect Arjuna. Actually did it twice. Twice. Once when Arjuna wasn't fighting enthusiastically. Arjuna was just going, blah, blah. And he says, if you don't kill him, I'm going to kill him. Did you know that? Twice it happened, according to the Mahabharata. So, anyway, so that's all right. So, what happened is that Bali Maharaj eventually won out over his guru, and his guru actually lost his eye because of that, because Lord Vamana used this kusha grass to poke out the eye when Shukracharya had taken this little tiny, tiny, tiny form inside the water pot. It was the spout of the water pot. So Shukracharya really didn't like Lord Vishnu after this particular point. He had a number of interactions with him. So then Bali washes the feet of Lord Vamanadev, and he offers him 3 paces of land. And Lord Vamanadev takes the world, the sky, pokes a hole in the sky, the shell of the universe. He said, I have nowhere else to put it. And then Bali Maharaj says, put it on my head. And he pushes Bali Maharaj down to Sutala. And so in Sutala, Lord Vamana tells Prahlad Maharaj, go there and take care of your grandson. So he lives in Sutala, and Lord Vamana also stays in Sutala, or expands as Lord Vishnu in Sutala to protect. So in the meantime, there's more to the story anyway. So the demons start to lose everything. So Diti, the mother of the demons, gets really upset and thinks, look what Aditi got because she performed this Payovrata ceremony. I have to give, my husband has to give me some particular ceremony to perform so I can kill Indra. Because she's thinking it's for Indra's sake. She's not really angry at Vishnu. She's thinking Vishnu is just doing all these things just to please Indra. She's at least that pious. So she's thinking, I want to kill Indra. So she goes to her husband, doesn't say that immediately. She goes to her husband, smiles. I can't imitate that well. So anyway, she goes to her husband and acts real sweet. As Chandakabanda says, too much devotion is the sign of a thief. Someone comes up to you and says, whether it's your wife or husband or children, let's say children, Daddy, Pop, Pita Shri, I love you so much. What do you want? A car. A car. So she did that basically with her husband, and after a while he said, all right, whatever you want, you can have. And she said, I want a son who can kill Indra. And he says, oh my God, what did I get myself into? So he says, I got to figure a way out of this. So he says, okay, if you do this, but again, like a Payovrata, but a lot of restrictions. If you violate this restriction, if you go to sleep at the wrong time, if you don't say your prayers at the right time, etc., then you will get a son who will be Indra's friend. Oh, so she's very determined, very, very determined. Indra, in the meantime, he just wants to spy on her and see what's going on. So he begins to search. Because remember, Diti is Indra's aunt. Remember? two sisters, Aditi and Diti. So he begins to serve her just, very nicely, hand and foot, and just watching to see if she makes a mistake. So she does make a mistake by not waking up at the right time. Little mistake. And Indra goes, now time to kill the kid. So he enters into her womb. I mean, this is terrible. And he slices up the embryo into 7 pieces. But there's a happy side to this. Each and every one of those 7 pieces is a different person. And they start crying. And he says, uh-oh, I got 7 enemies here. So he takes his thunderbolt again, and he cuts each 7 into 7. 7 times 7, you know what 7 7? 49. And so then they're all born, and there's 49 of them. That's a lot of kids to have at once. So anyway, so there's 49 of them, but because she had violated the terms of her austerity, they all become Indra's friend. They become the Maruts. So at that point, the demons realize there's nothing we can do, so we have to go somewhere where we can recoup our forces. And so what is the place they take? The Earth planet. So they think that is a good planet for us. And how should we take birth in the Earth planet? As Kshatriyas, the kings, the princes, etc. And in this way, we're going to be able to be our normal demoniac selves. And so you have Kamsa, who was Kalanemi, and Jarasandha is Vipachitti, and others, Malyavan, Sumali, and others, who take birth on the Earth planet, and getting to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam now. So the Earth planet is a person, there's a personification or a person in charge of the Earth planet. Her name is Bhumi, right? And so Bhumi gets overburdened when there's a lot of bad people on her. And she gets so upset, again, the same thing. She goes to Lord Brahma with the demigods, makes a complaint. And Lord Brahma goes to, again, the shore of the ocean of milk and speaks to the Kshirodakshay Vishnu, or meditates. And then Lord Brahma gets this message that all you demigods should take birth on the Earth planet and be members of my Yadu dynasty, or expand yourselves, or partial expansions, and help me with this mission of Pritranaya Sadhunam, Vinashaya Jadushkritam. So these are the events that preceded Krishna's advent on this Earth planet. And if we have well, should we take questions, or I had a little something to add that might take a few more minutes? What is it? This is, all right, so Krishna takes birth on the Earth planet. So, someone can operate this. Here we find, I thought this would be interesting for everybody to see. Not that. Operate this. Here, this is a mouse. You got to turn it on. Let's leave it right now. You're going to have to just page down in a second. This is the timeline of Shri Krishna's Leela. So I'm going to go very quickly over this because we don't have a lot of time. That this is put together by Hari Parashad Das. And so 6 days after Krishna appeared, he kills Putana. 3 months after Krishna appeared, he killed the cart demon Shakatasura. 100 days after he appeared, there was the name-giving ceremony. And after 1 year, he killed Trinavarta. After 3 years and 2 months, there was the Damodar Leela and the deliverance of the Yamala Arjuna trees. After 3 years and 3 months, he arrived by Vrindavan. It means the forest of Vrindavan. I have to make very clear, because he was always in Braj, but they were previously they were in Gokul on the other side of the Jamuna, and to avoid the demons, all the residents of Vrindavan took their ox carts and everything and crossed the Yamuna and went to Nandagan and Barshana and other places close by. That's called the forest of Vrindavan. 3 years and 4 months, he herded the cows, given charge of herding the calves, killed Vatsasura. 4 years and 4 months, he killed Agasura. 5 years and 2 months, he herded the cows. 6 years and 9 months, he subdued Kaliya. 7 years and 2 months, he did his Govardhan Leela. 8 years, he rescued Nanda Maharaj from Varuna's abode. 9 years, they went to Ambika Vana and killed Shankarachuda and did the Holy Leela. 10th and 11th year, he added Dana Leela, means tax pastimes, and various pastimes of love with the gopis. He killed Keshi, and Akrura arrived. So sometimes it's described that Krishna was 16 years old when he left Vrindavan, but he compressed the years, or compressed his time, so that he actually grew up more quickly than most people. At 11 years and 1 month, he went to Mathura and killed Kamsa. 11 years and 5 months, he took the sacred thread ceremony. And 11 years and 7 months, he went to Gurukula. And 14 years and 2 months, he met with Kubja and had his interaction. That was the second time he met with Kubja. First time was before killing Kamsa, when he straightened Kubja up. But the second time was when he was 14 years. So it lapsed like 3 years. Actually, 3 years between the time he straightened up Kubja and then met with her in a Leela. In his 15th year to the 32nd year, there were 18 attacks by Jarasandha. That was 1 attack per year on Mathura. It's interesting, 1 attack per year. That makes sense, because Jarasandha came with armies. It's not that he's going to have another army 2 days later. And Krishna killed all his armies. So after the 18th, then Krishna left and established Dwarka. When Krishna was 32 years on this planet, he established Dwarka. And then shortly after that, he married Rukmini. 33 years, 1 year later after marriage, there was the birth of Prajuna, who was actually kidnapped, but that's another story. And in the 34th to the 40th year that Krishna was on the planet, he killed Bhaumasura, which is Narakasura, who was his son, and he married the other queens that were kidnapped by Bhaumasura. 45 years, he met the Yadus and Brajavasis at Kurukshetra during the time of the eclipse. When 51 years on this planet, Prajuna arrived in Dwarka after 18 years. So, as I mentioned before, Prajuna was kidnapped. At 52 years on this planet, Baladev went to Braj to pacify the residents of Vrindavan. 53 years after Krishna was on the planet, there was a birth of Aniruddha. 72 years, there was a Rajasuya sacrifice and the killing of Shishupal. 3 years, Draupadi was humiliated in the assembly of the Kurus, attempted disrobing. 73 years, there's a disappearance of the Vraja Leela. Now, the Vraja Leela is eternal, but sometimes it's prakrita, aprakrita, or aprakrita. Sometimes it's not manifest to us, sometimes it's not. It is manifest. At 86 years, the Pandavas returned from their exile. 87 years, there was a possibility of war between the Kauravas and Pandavas, and peace talks began in 89 years. The peace talks failed, and the Mahabharat war took place. 90th year to the 124th year, Krishna stayed in Dwarka, and on the 125th year, this hunter Jaras shot an arrow, and Krishna left this material world. So it's very interesting timeline, I guess we could leave that up there. Well, yeah. Yeah, sometimes we think there was no time between the different events, like the defeating of Jarasandha every time Jarasandha attacked Mathura, but it was actually a whole year between each attack. So, it's time. Is any quick questions or comments about anything? Yes. Thank you. Where does it say it? Let me just say. It says in the Assembly of Kur. Oh, yeah, that's a mistake. Well, it definitely wasn't in Dwarka. Yeah. It was in Hastinapur. That's a mistake, yeah. I didn't even notice that. And obviously the disappearance of Braja Leela was not in Dwarka either. And the Pandavas returning from exile was not in Dwarka. But that, I guess that means that pretty much that's where Krishna was at that time. Okay, it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. Now thinking about it, it means not where that pastime took place, but where Krishna was when that pastime took place. Sorry. So it is correct. So, on that happy note, so we have a dance performance now, right? You have an announcement to make? Okay, why don't you give him a microphone? So thank you very much. All glories to His divine grace to the Prabhupada. Shri Krishna Janmastami ki jai.
Jai. Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for this wonderful narration of all these beautiful pastimes of Lord Krishna. It's really getting us into the mood of Sri Janmashtami, getting to know all the avatars and finally getting to know the Krishna avatar. And when he comes, he takes Janmashtami. This is the day we've all been waiting for. This is the day that we wait for for actually one full year. And it's here tomorrow. Can't wait for it. Huge festival tomorrow we're going to have. Please, this is the last opportunity. Go ahead and invite every single friend of yours, everybody in your neighborhood. Invite everybody. Allow them to get this wonderful mercy of Rishi Radha Golokananda celebration tomorrow. In the Janmashtami, just so you know, the program actually starts at 4 p.m. And we have a number of things, so you can remind and you can invite all the other friends. So from 4:30 to midnight, we're going to have beautiful darshans, absolutely gorgeous darshans. So they're going to get a new outfit tomorrow, and the darshan is going to be absolutely fabulous, absolutely exquisite. We'll have non-stop kirtans from 4 p.m. all the way to 12:30 p.m. We have Mahaprasadam feast for those who are not fasting. We'll have Mahaprasadam feast outside. That'll go on. We'll have Govinda's food court, and from what I hear from last so many years, the Govinda's food court has been an absolute hit. And so for those of you who are inviting their friends and family, and those who are not fasting, obviously, if you can take, and for those who are fasting, maybe you can take a plate and have it tomorrow, the day after. So that's going to be Govinda's festival. We have a grand Abhishek ceremony we'll be doing at 9 o'clock. So starting at 9 after the cultural program. So that will be done at 9 o'clock. We'll have grand Abhishek ceremony. Every single family will get an opportunity to bathe Shri Shri Radha Krishna. And that is the absolute wonderful seva that we can all perform. We all get here, we all intend to serve Krishna, and we are all figuring out how do we serve him, And here we have a number of different opportunities to serve, and we personally have an opportunity to bathe them. What a beautiful opportunity. So there will be a grand Abhishek at 9, and then also at 9 will be Dahi Handi for everybody who have children or who have the children within you. You can come in and enjoy the Dahi Handi. Haribol! Who here does not know what is Dahi Handi? Okay, so then we have to be part of it. Dahi Handi is going to be at 9 o'clock. We'll have cultural programs. That will be all the way from 5:30 to 9, which includes a number of arts performances. There'll be a drama performance. And again, all of these will be enacting the pastimes of Krishna. We have a wonderful boat festival. That is from 7 to 9:30. Okay. We have a boat festival from 7 to 9:30. And this year we are going to have a special Julan. So we'll have like a swing for Radha Krishna. You can come in, You can take them on the boat, you take them around, and you can also give them a little swing. And there'll be, I talked about Govinda's food offering personal arati. Every single family will also have an opportunity to offer their personal arati to Radha Golokananda. So we'll set up a table here. There'll be arati plates available for you. You would come in from there, pick up your plate, offer arati, leave it there, and you can do a little swing. And that way, offer your prayers, offer your meditations on Radha Golokananda. There'll be kirtans going on in the prayer room. The whole atmosphere would be really nice. Please do come. Please do invite every single one of you, your friends. Okay, and there was one more about Krishna Janmashtami. We have reading of Krishna book. So Krishna book tomorrow 7:30 a.m. There'll be reading of Krishna book tomorrow. So please participate in that. And Nandagopal Prabhu will probably send out further details on how people can get connected. Okay, thank you. So that was the Janmashtami. We actually have right after Janmashtami is our very next significant day of the year. We wait a whole year. And we are now again back at the point where right after Janmashtami we celebrate. The next day is Srila Prabhupada's appearance. Srila Prabhupada ki! Srila Prabhupada ki! Srila Prabhupada ki! So Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. So the program will start from, is it 11 a.m. Prabhu? 11 a.m. So the program starts at 11 a.m. And then we'll have offerings. There'll be Pushpanjali. It'll be really beautiful because we get to actually hear from a number of devotees of what actually Srila Prabhupada means to them. That's a really, really intimate offering that gets made. And we get to participate in that. We actually see, how Prabhupada has taken that shape within our hearts. What is Prabhupada actually saying to every single one of us within our hearts? And so that offering gets made. It's really beautiful to hear. It's very, very inspiring. And it's really captivating. So please do attend the Srila Prabhupada's appearance day. Tomorrow morning at 6:30 will be a class by Mother Urmila. Not tomorrow morning. Is it tomorrow morning? Yes. Tomorrow morning will be a class by Mother Urmila, 6:30. Okay, next we have some really exciting news. So you may remember a couple of weeks ago, I had talked about Bhagavad Gita Pariksha, Bhagavad Gita exam. So by Hindu University of America, they organize every year a Bhagavad Gita exam. And the intent is what they want to do is they want to engage the youth in the reading and studying of Bhagavad Gita. And they do that in different areas. So they did that here in the whole Carolinas. That exam actually happened yesterday. They invited everybody. And so out of, I think, 50 or 60 total students who registered, there were about 15 or 20 students from our own congregation, from ISKCON. What to speak of that? Almost 25% to 30% is like participation is from our youth. We actually have the top 6 positions, prizes won from that competition. Haribol! I know the children are actually downstairs and they are right now practicing in their arts performances. But I would like to call out their names, and if their parents are here, please let me know if you're here somewhere. So the first place in juniors goes to Renu Shri. Haribol! And then from the middle category, the third place goes to Akshaj. Fourth place is Krish. And the fifth place is Aparajita. Haribol! We have him. Why don't you stand up, Prabhu? Oh, he's here. Okay. Haribol, when you stand up. Let's give him a big Haribol! And then in the senior category, stay stand. In the senior category, we have Advaita Chandra. Advaita, please stand up. And Divyansh. Where is Divyansh? Divyansh is downstairs. Bhupendra Prabhu, Balkrishna Prabhu, please stand up. Oh, Krish, oh, thank you, sorry. You've been hiding behind him, Prabhu. You should stand up. So we have 6 prizes, and it's not about prizes. It's really from the Hindu University of America and the organizers. The message is really about let's get our youth engaged in reading Bhagavad Gita and incorporating cultural values, spiritual values, so that they can lead a good life, solve problems, daily day-to-day problems that they face using the knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita. And